Well, it's like 6 something in the morning and we got the call that our new toy is here, which I'm excited about. But the driver never called us yesterday to tell us what time he'd be here, so we were frantically rushing down to the gate to meet him because he says the unit won't start. But it's cold outside, so Avo's on his way with some starter fluid. Should be fun, hopefully. Big boy.
Like I said, don't trust the parking brake, because it will fool you. So we get it up there, we might want to back it into that dirt bank.
Red diesel, it's up to here. Boy, it's all the way to the top.
Oh, no kidding. Okay, lucky you. You just saved $300 in fuel.
Well, one win.
Surprised they didn't grade the damn thing. Come up there for a second. I'll show you how you fire this turkey off. With your throttle, that shuts it off. It says kill. I couldn't read that at first. I thought it said kiss.
Kiss, yeah.
Put it over here. You can feel a little detent. Put it over here. Run.
Okay.
This is your master switch and your start switch.
Okay.
Got to make sure your transmission is in neutral.
Okay.
Or was it this one? No, this one. I don't know what that does. That must do the drum. Okay. What it does. We did that about 10 times yesterday, and finally he said, let me get some ether. So we had to get ether in to get it started. So I think it's losing its prime. That'll, I think that light went out yesterday after it built air pressure.
Oh, okay.
This thing won't stay in. It's just like a truck valve. If you got low air pressure, that parking brake won't stay in. It'll keep popping out when you let go of it. As soon as it builds enough air, you can release it. And I think the light went out, and then the valve will stay in.
Okay.
Ready? Whoop. Don't do that again.
That's not good.
It happens.
More?
Oh, it's gonna have to run about 10 seconds on ether.
Okay.
There you go. Good.
Well, I'm just going to talk over this since we don't have audio because this is a drone shot. Besides, it'd just be us cursing a lot anyways. You can see Avo starts to go up the hill here. It's been running for like 10 minutes fine, and all of a sudden it dies there. So Avo's kind of trying to figure out what to do and see where I am. So he calls me over once he realizes he can't get the thing restarted, and panic starts to set in as this thing starts to creep or roll down the hill. Luckily the semi-truck was still there, so worst case it would just run into the back of that, but still, that would not be fun for anybody. But it was still a little scary, so he asked me to get in and he was going to grab the skid steer, and luckily he had the forethought to grab that just in case something like this would happen. Found a big rock, tried to put that underneath the wheel, but you know, this huge beast just kind of laughs at that. So he grabs the skid steer here, gets that behind the machine, and that gives us a little more breathing room. The truck driver was nice enough to still be here and came up to help. I'm worried that we're going to need more ether to get this thing started, but luckily I was able to get it to start right up. Now I do figure out what the issue is pretty quickly. But since this is a new machine and not knowing what's going on, it's a little bit freaky. Luckily, this was a simple fix, and we'll get into that later. Once we got it restarted, Avo followed closely behind in the skid steer, just in case something were to happen, but luckily it didn't. And once we got to the top of the hill on flat land, we could finally do our initial inspection. So after doing a quick once over, we didn't really see anything leaking or dripping. The oil looked good. The only thing we couldn't check was the air filter, which led to this. That was way easier.
Absolutely.
According to see what kind of monster falls out of this thing. Oh. Oh, it's actually an air filter that doesn't look terrible.
Should I take it out?
Doesn't actually look that bad.
It's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Just gonna put it back.
This one where it's got a little hornet's nest in there. Once we got the air filter reinstalled, I had a whole bunch of work I wanted to do with this today, and I jumped right on it. Oh, okay. Yeah. I hope so. No, thank you. Luckily, this turned out just to be a false alarm. It was just rainwater that was in one of the battery boxes. Woo, look at this. She compacts. And she hits super hard. That's pretty great. This was bedrock, or at least our version of bedrock here. Still left dents in it. That's pretty crazy. So this is looking pretty good. I want to level it out a little bit and then maybe a couple more passes. It's supposed to rain again this week, which would be great for compaction. Get a little bit more moisture in it and then compact it again. You know, you can see some of it's still a little dry, but the areas where the soil moisture is just right, you can tell it's compacted it pretty well. This is just awesome. Can't say enough good things about this machine so far. It's a good start. While I get back to work, why don't I let you guys take a closer look at this machine. Yeah, one nice thing is that this machine does have a chart on the side, which is pretty easy to read for the fluids. You know, some of it's rubbed off. You know, I'll find a manual later so I can get the actual fluids. But let's take a look at this now that we've been running it. That's kind of warm. Not bad. That looks okay-ish. Man, this is some thick steel. Look at this plate. It's crazy. You know, these hydraulic lines need some love. Probably totally replace those. And these blocks down here, looks like they've kind of sheared off their bolts. Looks like that cylinder's leaking a little bit, but, you know, nothing that I'm really concerned about at this point. Still working just fine. The fuel tank has tons of fuel. That was nice of the seller. Let's continue our walk around. You know, I'm just kind of letting this sit here run, let the water cool down for a few minutes after running it. It's either the wrong battery gauge or they've got the batteries hooked up wrong. So we'll look into that later. Air pressure. You know, there's something wrong here with the air brakes. You know, it's missing the pull to stop. Horn kind of works. These are not really centered. To kill it, you just throttle it down a bit because it's missing the pull to shut off. And then these we've got a little issue with, you know, you kind of have to find a sweet spot for it to stop the vibration. So right now it's about over there. Forward and back seems to be just fine. I don't know what that's for. Figure that out later. Yeah, it did a pretty okay job today. Got some rust and some crack in here. You can tell probably the vibration and the stress of welding it actually probably caused this to crack here. Not a big deal. This is a beefy rollover cage. I think this thing weighs about 50,000 pounds, so that is pretty serious. Got a fuel gauge that's broken there. You know, I'm gonna need to pressure wash this just, you know, to get a better visual on, you know, what's actually leaking, what might have been leaking from something else. You know, those battery cables don't look very healthy running through there. There's also some extra wire here that's a little weird. This is dented up. It clearly ran into something back here, unfortunately. And then something's leaking over here. I'm not sure what is dripping there. Maybe it's the air compressor, but I don't know. And of course, here's this fuel line, which I think is causing some of our problems. It's totally cracked. And who knows if it's actually creating a good seal or not. This will probably be one of the first things I take care of. All right, so now the big question. What did I pay for it? Well, the compactor itself, I won at $11,000. The auction fees were $1,650. The taxes were $1,106.88. $1,200 for transportation, for a grand total of $14,956.88. Okay, it's been sitting for a couple hours.
I'm tall. I'm short. I'm tall. I'm short. Tall. I'm short.
Okay, here we go. And this was about 4 hours later. I just wanted to check and see if we're going to have the same fuel starvation issues that we were having this morning. And luckily, we didn't. You know, we had a lot we wanted to get done, and we put it to work today, and it seemed to work pretty flawlessly. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, if you thought that was a good deal, or if you thought maybe, fair deal. I know she's got a lot of work, but I think she'll serve me for many years. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Me too, because I'm old, I don't see very well.
I'm tall.